Good day and welcome once again with this another video lesson. So today I am going to discuss about factoring perfect square trinomials. So before we proceed with the examples, let me remind you of to get back with the concepts of perfect square numbers. No, we're going to use that in our lesson for today. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so let's have example number 1. So our expression is x squared plus 4x plus 4. So our first step here is to check our first term and our last term, or the third term of the expression, if we have perfect square numbers. Okay, so for x squared, our first term, always remember that it has a numerical coefficient of 1, and 1 is considered as a perfect square number. Okay, and then for our last term, you have 4. So 4 is also a perfect square number. So meaning, this expression can be factored through perfect square trinomial. Okay, now, so first, we need to factor x squared. So 1 here, hindi na natin siya sinusulat, 'di ba? Ang 1 is a perfect square number. You have 1 times 1. Pero hindi na siya sinusulat because it is already given. So we're just going to factor x squared, and that is we have x times x. And then do with for 4, so you have the square root of 4, or a number na kapag tinimes mo sa sarili niya, the answer is 4. So the answer is 2 times 2. Okay, so after identifying the factors of our first and third term, so we're going to do the pairing. So you have x here to be paired with 2, then another x to be paired with 2. So okay lang magkapalit yan kasi parehas lang naman yung numbers, no? Okay, so next is to place them inside the parentheses. So you have now x 2 and then x blank 2. So we have blanks here because we need to know ano yung operations na gagamitin natin for our factors. Okay, and that is the use of our second term here. So you have plus here. Okay, so you have plus. So meaning the operations that we're going to use for our factors will be plus also. Okay, and that you have now quantity x plus 2 and quantity x plus 2. So as you can see, parehas sila. So pwede natin i-rewrite yung ating final answer as quantity x plus 2 squared. Okay, so I repeat, you can write your answer either in expanded form or in exponential form. Okay, so baka tinatanong nyo, what is the use of 4x here? So always remember, class, that if your trinomial is a perfect one or perfect square, so 4x here is always the sum of the products of our factors for our first term and last term. Okay, so tignan nyo. So if we're going to multiply 2 times x, the answer is 2x. Then same, 2 times x, so you have 2x. So kapag pinag-plus mo yung dalawang 2x, the answer is 4x. Okay, so if you just want to check your answer. Okay, so again, our final answer for this expression is x plus 2 and x plus 2, or in exponential form, you have quantity x plus 2. Okay, so let's have example number 2. So for example number 2, we have x squared minus 10x plus 25. So same, first and our last term if they are perfect square numbers. So after finding out if they are perfect square numbers, we can now factor. So again, x squared can be automatically factored as x times x. And then for 25, so ang number na kapag tinimes mo sa sarili niya, 25 ang sagot, is 5. So you have 5 times 5. So do the pairing. So you have x to be paired with 5, then other x to be paired with 5. Then lagay siya sa loob ng parentheses, and then we need to decide the operations for the factors. Okay, so you rewrite once again. If you're going to rewrite it once again, then you place now the operation. So as you can see for our second term, so the operation is subtraction, so that carried up for the operations of our factors, so that is also subtraction. Okay, so you have now the factors as quantity x minus 5 and x minus 5, or in exponential form, we write this as quantity x minus 5 squared. Okay, so again, next. So here is our example number 3. So you have 25x raised to 2 minus 40x plus 16. So our x here, or our first term, no, it has already a numerical coefficient higher than 1, but still the process is the same. Check our first term and last term if the numbers are perfect 1. So after finding out, we can now factor. So factor 25x squared. So square root of 25 here is 5. So you have 5 times 5. Then factor x squared. So you have x times x. Then for 16, you have 4 times 4. Then do the pairing. So you have 5x and 4. Then 5x, then 4. Then place them inside the parentheses. So you have this one. So we need to decide now the operation. So once again, our operation for the second term is subtraction. Okay, so meaning we're going to take that. Our operation for our factors, we have subtraction also, or negative. And that we have now for our answer, or the factors of our expression, as quantity 5x minus 4 times 5x minus 4. Or in exponential form, once again, just copy 1. So you have quantity 5x minus 4, then place squared outside. Okay, so next. Okay, so example number 4, you have 121m raised to 2 plus 66m plus 9. So same process, check for our first and last term. So after checking if they are perfect square numbers, factor them. So 121 is 11 times 11. Then for m squared, you have here m squared. So that is m times m. Then for 9, you have square root of 9, or a number multiplied by itself, you have 3. So you have 3 times 3. Then pair them. So you have 11m3 and 11m3. So what do you think is the operation for this? Okay, so you have for the second term, you have addition. So meaning, we can write our factor now completely as quantity 11m plus 3 times 11m plus 3. Or in exponential form, you can write, or we can write our answer as quantity 11m plus 3 squared. Okay, so that is our final answer. Okay. So for example number 5, we have 25b squared minus 70bd plus 49d squared. So as you can see, for our third term, it also have its variable, but still the process is the same. Check for our last term and first term if they are perfect square numbers. Then next is to factor it. So 25, so factor of 25 is 5 times 5. Then so factor also b squared. So magiging sagot natin is b times b. Okay? So ganun din ang gawin natin for 49d squared. So you have to take the square root of 49. So that is 7 times 7. Then factor d squared. So you have d times d. Okay, then do the pairing. So you have now. Okay, so inside the parentheses, so you have 5bd 7d, then 5b 7d. Then decide for the operations of our factors. So since our second term is subtraction or negative, so that means the operation of our factors also be negative. So you have now our answer as quantity 5b minus 7d, or we can write this in exponential form as quantity 5b minus 7d squared. Okay, so that is our final answer. Okay, so that is factoring perfect square trinomials. So I hope that you learned something for today. So see you again to our next video lesson. So thank you and keep safe.